South Orange County Watershed Management Executive Committee meeting, and we are here to determine findings on AB 361. So next slide, please. Call to order. Should we have a pledge of allegiance?
Yes.
Okay, ready? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next slide, please. So, Maria, have you taken roll?
I will do that right now. Tiffany Ackley, Kay Havens,
Here.
Debbie Neve, Bill Moorhead,
Here.
Sandra Jacobs.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Megan Yu Schneider,
Here.
Kelly Jennings, Lisa Bartlett,
Kevin Onuma here for Lisa Bartlett.
Mike Frost, Brad McGear, Karen McLaughlin,
Here.
Knobloch,
This is Brendan Dugan here for Brad McGear.
thank you. Sue Kemp,
Hi, David Schisler for Sue Kemp.
Norris Brandt,
Here.
Dave Wheeler,
This is Don Caskey. I'm here, his alternate.
thank you. Doug Erdman, Carol Moore, Betty Bernay,
Here.
Brian Goodall, Ed Mandich, Nikki Morasetti, and Howard Hart.
Here.
And that's it. Thank you.
And you can confirm quorum so we can go on to the next slide, please.
We have quorum.
Yes, okay. Just wanted to, I didn't know if we started a recording at a certain spot. So we're here to, on item number 2, the Brown Act teleconference AB 361 findings, we need to review and reconsider the circumstances of the state of emergency, confirm that the South Orange County Watershed Management Area Executive Committee finds and has reconsidered the state of the emergency, and that the state of the emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person, or state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. In our situation, as I understand it, we're having a hard time finding a place for 22 people to meet that still meets the standards. And based upon these findings and recommendations of number 1 and number 2, this agency, this Watershed Management Area Executive Committee will continue teleconference meetings unless and until findings in recommended actions number 1 and 2 no longer apply. So I will need a motion on this.
I will. This is Sandra, Santa Margarita Water District. I will move the item as recommended.
I'll second it. This is Megan Yu Schneider.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Sandra. And with that, we need a vote, please. Unless there's further discussion, yes. We are looking for a place, as I understand it, right, Jenna?
Yes, it's kind of a Goldilocks situation. We haven't found the perfect fit. I will see if Laguna Niguel is available. If we go to back to Laguna Niguel, we need to find a creative solution for the fact that we can't fit the full executive committee at the dais and in the front tables, whether that's adding a table in the center for additional executive committee members. We'll coordinate with the city to see if it's available and whether or not we can do that. It also, their facility does not allow any teleconferencing whatsoever. And though we haven't considered hybrid, that means that everyone either attends in person or they send their alternate, or that their organization is not represented, because we can't have the call-in option at that location.
Why do we need the call-in option at that point? Why don't we just go back to in-person, period?
We don't. The Brown Act just allows that if someone does join remotely, that they have to post their location, which is what is waived by AB 361. But if we go to that location, you don't have that option at all, which is fine. The bigger issue with Laguna Niguel is that it's not big enough to fit the whole executive committee at the dais. And so it may just be the best bet that we find something to different chairs, something to fit everybody. Because so far we're striking out a bit on other locations. So I'm looking into that as the next option, but we wouldn't. So if the group wanted to, we could discontinue AB 361 meetings and intend for the August meeting to be in person, location TBD, and we as staff will find a location. And if we don't, then we would have to cancel and hold the next quarterly meeting in November in person. And we would.
Does the August meeting have to be allow teleconferencing on August?
It doesn't have to. The group had voted in March to continue teleconferencing, finding to have these AB 361 meetings so that the August meeting could be teleconferenced. If this group chooses not to do that, then we would discontinue the monthly AB 361 meetings and remove them from the calendar. That was the motion. That was one of the options about a little over a month ago, month and a half ago.
So
but the committee chose to continue these.
I see hands raised by Megan U. Schneider and Norris Brandt. So Megan, go ahead.
Sure. I was just wondering, do we anticipate having the same level of participation if we have it in person? Because I know we've struggled with meeting quorum the last few meetings. And so I'm just wondering if that would pose additional challenges in terms of getting quorum.
It could, to be honest, we haven't tried because we haven't been in person in a while. So I don't know, but quorum has been a challenge.
And Norris?
Yes, Madam Chair, thanks for giving me the chance to talk. I was wondering, Jenna, if we could ask for volunteers to sit in the regular audience, the regular chairs. I'd be glad to do that and step up to the mic if needed to speak. And that way we could try to fit everybody in there and get back to public meetings.
I would agree with that.
As long as you step up each time there's roll and any other time where you need to chime in, making it abundantly clear that you are a member of the executive committee. So if folks are willing to do that, then I can check the availability of Laguna Niguel.
I'd be glad to do that. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd be glad to do that.
Okay. So the findings for today facilitate this as an executive committee meeting, and then it punts to the next one. Does the group, I don't have agendized for this meeting. Discontinuing the remaining portion of the agenda, well, that would be the May, June, and July meetings. Does the group want me to bring that back next month, and then from there forward, we don't hold them until August?
Yes.
So that would.
So do we need a motion on that separately?
I think
we have current
Grant is representing as executive officer today. I believe you can give us direction to agendize it for the next meeting. I think because it's not agendized at this meeting, you can't take an action.
Yeah, good afternoon, Executive Committee. Grant Sharp, Orange County Public Works, serving as your executive officer for this afternoon's meeting in place of Amanda Carr. Jen, I was wondering, I guess before we go down that path, I'm just wondering out loud for the committee, what happens if they don't make the AB 361 finding today? Would it then just automatically revert to the in-person quarterly meeting schedule?
No, we would need to remove the additional meetings from the calendar. We may be able to just cancel them, send cancellation notices 72 hours in advance for the remaining calendar. I think that's okay. I am not a lawyer. So that would be the other option, is to formally cancel those without an action of this committee. But I think what we do need action on is the direction to discontinue meetings, the teleconference meetings, and to meet next in August. I think I need an action for that.
Right. Yeah. Then I suppose, to be safe and Chair Havens, feel free to weigh in, but I mean, to be safe then, and on the conservative side, maybe our best course of action would be to have staff agendize that for one more of these meetings, and then we can go ahead and wrap these up and move back to in-person for the August quarterly meeting.
You might want to do an informal poll too as to who would be willing to volunteer to do that, so that you got it all set to go.
Was that you, Norris?
Yes, it was.
Can I ask a question? So, yeah, we were only doing this out of my last recollection of the last meeting was find a location, and that ultimately we would transition into in-person. In the meantime, we would still continue to approve these on a monthly basis. AB, this agenda item 361 to keep us flexible. And so, if the next meeting, which is scheduled for May, to do this every 30 days, if you can confirm Laguna Niguel again, Jenna, and put it on May's agenda, and if you have enough time in the next 30 days, basically. Otherwise, we may need to do this one more time virtually until we have our location secured. I know I offered up Santa Margarita Water District. We've got a new hybrid system, but it would take people walking up to the podium to speak and give their votes, because it only seats 6 at the dais. So yes, I agree. We are in motion to move to in-person. I'd just like to know we have a place first, and then let's put all those things in motion in the next agenda or the agenda after that. Let me ask one more thing, Madam Chair. Our purpose here is grant funding of projects. So when we come up to our quarterly meeting, Jenna, is that the meeting you had mentioned that we would have projects in the queue, or is it the November meeting that we would be ready for, that you were preparing the grant applications for?
November we would be bringing to you for the final executive committee member vote. The slate of projects recommended by the management committee ad hoc, then the stakeholder group or interested parties group, and the full management committee. They come to you as 3 separate recommendations. Typically, they're pretty similar because it's based on a quantitative analysis. And then you can make modifications to those recommendations in your final approval of the slate, but that is when you make a distinct action that formalizes the slate that will move forward with an application. So the meeting, so that's why the meeting is a bit of a buffer, meaning that if for whatever reason, if something were to happen and we didn't have items that required action, the November meeting is a must-have, but the August is not.
Got it.
So in terms of the grant.
Okay, so I'm
so-
supportive of the motion and the second that's in play right now. And then if you can confirm a location at our May meeting, and we either have a quorum at our next meeting or we don't. But Maria knows just to ask me and I'll start hammering on people's head.
Got the numbers, yeah.
So
Thank you. That's all I had.
So
oh yeah, go ahead. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on the direction. And I don't know if any of your agencies have directed you otherwise, but unless we do some kind of straw poll right now, we don't know if the full executive committee will support going back to in-person because we don't have that on the agenda. So the action would be as presented to make findings for this meeting, have the main meeting, but at the May meeting, it would be to discontinue and meet in person at the next quarterly meeting. Am I understanding that correctly? So long as we have a venue?
Yes.
So long as we have a venue, yes, that's how I understood it as well. Thank you, Jenna.
So
Okay.
we may still need to have the AB 361 if you do not have a venue next time, is my understanding. Correct, Sandra? If there's no venue come May, then we need to continue this in order to make sure that we're in compliance or not.
In order to facilitate the August meeting held via teleconference, yes, you would need to continue.
So
That's what she could have both items on the next agenda and we just choose to approve the in-person and not 361.
Yes.
and just everybody help get a place for us to meet, right? What happens if we don't have a place to meet come August?
Does that place have to be hybrid in August? No.
No, it does not.
Okay.
So I will ask about Laguna Niguel. The issue there was that we just had overgrown it. We were too big for that facility. But if folks are willing to make some modifications to make it work, then I will find out if it's available. There are a couple other options that don't have AV, so it would be sharing like 2 mics and a lot of running, but it doesn't mean we can't do it. It's just a lot of administration on our end. So my preference is to find a facility that can at least allow us to have most folks at a dais and then only a handful out of the dais, but willing to pop up to provide roles.
Very good.
We're gonna have to wrap this up pretty soon. I'm gonna have to leave.
Yes.
I suggest we take our roll call vote. That would kind of be a straw poll, and then you have your direction moving into May.
Okay.
So we have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please, Maria.
Okay. Brendan Dugan,
Aye.
David Schisler,
Yes. Yes.
Donald Caskey,
Aye.
Howard Hart,
Yes.
Aaron McLaughlin,
Yes.
Kay Havens,
Yes.
Kevin Onuma,
Aye.
Megan Yu Schneider,
Yes.
Norris Brandt,
Yes.
Sandra Jacobs,
Yes.
and Bill Moorhead.
Yes.
And that's it. Thank you.
And Betty Burnett, yes.
Yeah, I would say there's. Yeah.
I apologize. Yes, Betty Bernay.
Thank you. Okay, and we have the minutes from Andy, if you can go to the next slide, just real quick, because it sounds like we have some folks that need to drop off.
Yes.
So
Oh, next.
public comments. Do we have anybody that, any members of the public willing to comment?
I
I
move
don't-
approval.
I see none.
It's Brant.
And we need a quick approval of the minutes from last time.
I'll
So
move approval of item number 4. There were no changes that I noticed that need to be discussed.
So
Second,
Norris.
this is Norris, yeah.
Second, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so may we have a roll call vote on
Yes,
the minutes, please?
Betty Bernay,
Yes.
Brendan Dugan, David Schiffler,
Yes.
Donald Caskey,
Yes.
Howard Hart,
Yeah.
Karen, Karen McLaughlin,
Yes.
Kay Havens,
Yes.
Kevin Onuma,
Aye.
Megan Hugh Schneider,
Yes.
Norris Brandt,
Yes.
Sandra Jacobs,
yes.
and Bill Moorhead.
Yes.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And do we have one more slide just to give our next date? So with that, I will adjourn this meeting, and I really appreciate everybody coming today. I know it's kind of a hassle, but we're getting there slowly but surely. So thank you for responding to Sandra's prods, and
Don't make me call you.
Thanks, everybody.
in
Thank you.
Bye.
No, bye.
Bye, everyone.